Today is gonna be a long one, and when I say that, I mean I'm gonna be talking fast, and you know what type of video this is. Anyways, my name is Javis, and let's just jump right to it. If it's not obvious enough, I'm gonna be covering about 30 different tips roughly that young athletes can use in their endeavors throughout life and really anything. And hopefully you guys will be able to get something out of this, and if so, let me know down in the comments down below what tips you guys enjoyed and something else you guys might be wondering. And if you guys have any other questions for me regarding anything in this video or the future, go ahead and hit me up in any of my live streams that I do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, roughly about 7:30, but I might be changing the time. I might be trying to go a little bit earlier in the day, so go ahead and follow me on Twitter right here so that you guys can keep up to date on the daily endeavors of whether or not I stream or not and what time, if I'm going to decide to go early or not. So let's go ahead and get started with the thing that everyone came here today for. The rules for today is I want to give you guys at least 30 tips that you guys can use in your endeavors throughout trying to make it to college football or any other type of life endeavors that you guys may have in under 10 minutes. If I can do that, I succeeded, but if I can also help you guys, and if I do end up going over, then in my head I also succeeded. But in today's little competition, I guess, with myself, I will have failed. So let's try and get it under 10 minutes, and hopefully I'll be able to do it. And let's go ahead and get the timer maybe down here, wherever I decide to put it, and get that ready to go, because we're gonna be starting with number 1. Okay, let's get started with some of the easy ones. Let's start with school. Go ahead and do your homework. That is an essential one. You want to make sure to get all your homework done so that you don't get hung up on the little things that might be dragging your grades down. The next one is I want you guys to study for your ACT and SAT tests, because those are both incredibly important and will be very crucial in you being able to make sure that you get to the next level and you're not being hung back by some bad grades or bad SAT scores that you might have gotten that allowed you to get into a better school had you got better test scores on your SATs or ACTs. This one might not be obvious to everyone, and it really should be, but be respectful and nice to all of your teachers, because you never know when you're going to need to ask them for maybe some extra credit or any other kind of advice in the future. Don't burn your bridges, guys. And look, make school a priority. That's number 1, or it should be number 1 on this list, because school is going to take you places. Whether or not football will is really not entirely up to you, but your brain is what can take you far. So make sure that you invest as much time as you can into school and make it a priority. The next one is go ahead and form study groups with each other or with other classmates who may be able to help you. If you can't get on your own, it's always nice to have other people there that might be able to help you. And if you have other people there who are actually good at the subject and they can maybe explain it to you, that might be beneficial to you mostly as well. But remember this, and this will be a separate tip, but don't rely on them, or don't end up relying on them, because then you won't be able to do it without them. Utilize the time that you have with your group mates to learn from them and allow them to learn from you as well, so that you can each grow and get each other smarter in the end, and hopefully you all end up passing tests and all the other kind of curricular exams that you may have. Alright, now jumping into recruiting, let's go ahead and talk about number 1, and that's to have a presence on social media. This I talk about all the time in a bunch of my videos, but you need to have a presence on stuff like Twitter, Instagram, maybe even Facebook. I'm not so sure on Facebook, but I guess it can be done. But go ahead and have a presence on all those so you can make sure to utilize all the different avenues that you can to get in contact with these coaches that you want to be able to see your film and present to them as a student athlete that you want to have recruited to their school. The next thing I have to say is post anything on those social medias that I just told you to make. Post stuff to make you look good, specifically like training videos, lifting videos, stuff for your position, stuff to show them that you're staying in shape, even though we're in quarantine or we're not having a season right now for some of us. And for a lot of us, it's about what the off season is able to do for us. So you want to make sure that these coaches and anybody else who follows you knows that you are staying in shape. The next tip is to email and DM coaches through those social medias, through email. Go ahead and look on all these different avenues that you might have, like the websites for the schools will have the emails of the coaches if you look hard enough, and you can actually email them directly. You can DM them on Twitter, maybe even Instagram. But ultimately, I just want you guys to be pushing yourself out there and giving yourself a chance to be seen. This next one I don't really have time to explain all the way right now, but I do have a video on it right here, so go ahead and click on that if you're more interested in this specific tip. But I would say be smart about how you DM these coaches, because you can get blocked and stuff like that can happen. So don't over DM them, but make sure you're putting yourself out there for a chance to be seen. And also know which coach you're DMing, because there might be a higher chance of DMing a coach who's lower on the totem pole than someone like Nick Saban. The next thing is be smart about what camps you attend, because if you attend the wrong camps, you might just get lost in the wash and not really able to be seen by these coaches that otherwise would see you if you were at a camp that was less populated or less competitive as far as the amount of kids there. There are advantages to going to those big school camps or big showcase camps, but in the end, a lot of times, a lot of kids do not get seen, and only the top of the top will get seen. And if you are one of the top, then maybe it's worth your time, but if you're not, it can be really hard to stand out even when you might be a good player. It's just there's a lot of good players out there, so you want to make sure you're smart about what camps you are going to. And if you guys are interested in seeing a video on how I decide what camps you might want to go to, go ahead and put that in the comments down below if you're interested in that. Next, I'll say be smart about your first interactions with coaches, especially when you're doing things like DMing them for the first time or taking a visit to their school for the first time. Both of those types of first interactions are really important to them understanding what type of person and what type of player you are as a whole. Because when a coach is recruiting, they want to make sure they're recruiting the right type of person, not just the right type of player. Alright, now let's go over really quickly the lifting aspect of all the different tips I might have for you. This can be limited because of the timer, wherever it is down here, so let's be quick. For the first one, train for your sport, and not exactly just for strength, because if you're training for a sport, you're more likely to get results out on the field. I don't really like to do anything in the weight room that doesn't exactly translate or directly translate over to the field where I am playing. I play football, obviously, so I don't really like to do a whole lot of things in the weight room that don't really matter out on the field. The next thing I would say is try to incorporate stretches into your circuits or into your different lifts. And make sure that you're stretching throughout the workout so that you don't get tight and you don't get just a big muscly figure, and you're making sure you're staying limber so that you can stay fast and explosive out on the field. Now, if you're at home or you're at a place where you don't have a lot of weights available, try and do more eccentric and isometric movements. Go ahead and look those up. If you want to go ahead and make the workouts a little bit harder on yourself, if just doing body weight or you just don't have enough weights is not really cutting it, so try and like go slower on the way down, holding it and then coming back up if you're like benching or something. And just take that last tip of what I just said and incorporate bands more into your workouts, as in like resistance bands that you can hook onto bars, hook onto yourself and place it around other objects. There are a ton of different examples that you can find online, and maybe I'll make a video of, or maybe a TikTok or something, of different ways to use these bands so that you can have a way to use them at home or when you just need a place to train. Another thing I think you guys can add to your workouts is explosive movements, so like dropping off of a bench and jumping, or something to really make sure you're activating those quick twitch muscles instead of just the slow down, hold up muscles. You know, those are all slow muscles and those are good for building strength, but you want to make sure as athletes we're activating those quick muscles that make it so we're able to jump up at a moment's notice when a ball is being thrown our way, or when a receiver is breaking down really fast. We want to make sure to be able to react to that. And as far as an overall tip to lifting, I'd say really focus on improving your form rather than just trying to up the weight immediately, because if you do end up improving your form, you might actually be able to lift more in the end because of your improved form. Rather, if you had just kept doing it with bad form, even though you were getting a little bit more at the time, you might not be able to move up consistently as far as you would have if you had that improved form. Alright, let's jump into some more football life oriented tips and maybe some drill tips or something like that. So number one is pretty obvious for a lot of different football players and athletes in general. Finish through the line, not to the line, because you will probably have to redo it again if your coach is a hard ass like mine was. And one of the best tips I can give to you is take notes during meetings so that you can remember it for later, study it for later, and look it over maybe before practice when you do have to run the install that you installed yesterday. And your coaches will expect you to know the plays that they just installed the day before. And I'll throw a classic tip at you guys: always train like you're in second so you can continue being in first. It's easy to get to the top of the mountain, but it's incredibly hard to stay there, and I'm sure you guys know that. It's a classic tip, so go ahead and take it for what you will. The next thing is find some of the things that you are not good at and improve those things. Find the key little things that you don't think is really that great about your game and tweak it so that you can make it work for you, make it work for your body style, and really dominate on the field by just fixing these little aspects about your game that might not be the best. And I'll say this once, so the people in the back better be listening, but you guys need to be early to meetings, early to lifting, early to practice, all of that. Do not be late. It shows that you are not accountable. Your coach will not really present you as someone who is accountable, and that's what a lot of these colleges come when they're recruiting high school JUCO guys look for. They want accountability, they want reliability, they want consistency. And jumping off of that, go ahead and make sure that you guys are taking practice seriously, because if you're not going to be able to perform during the game, and coach is going to look at you and just wondering what the hell you think you're doing there. Now these next few tips are kind of just about life in general. Take whatever wise words that you can take from these. Not that I'm wise, really, I'm not saying I'm wise, but hopefully you'll be able to take something positive from this. At least I hope you can. My first one is try and find something that you love outside of sports. Try and learn what you like to do outside of sports and athletics, because that really is honestly not the only aspect of life. It may be at this point in time in your life, but it's not always going to be. So learn to enjoy hobbies, learn to enjoy the little things that might not have to do directly with athletics. For me, I enjoy sports, video games, anime, but mainly sports, so that's why I decided after I'm done playing, I'll probably want to go back and coach someday, and yeah, that's probably what I want to do. But not everyone's me. Maybe you like painting, maybe you like dancing, maybe you like singing. Any of that is good. Learn to enjoy your hobbies and make time for them. The next one has to do with not getting put down by others, because simply not everyone's going to see the vision that you have for yourself and the vision that you have laid out in the long path that you have. And playing directly off of that, go ahead and set some goals, both big and small. The small is probably more crucial than the big goals, because if you keep setting small goals and you consistently keep hitting those, you're going to keep moving a lot faster than if you just set big goals and just leave them there and slowly work that way, because setting small goals will move you along a lot faster. And take this from me, another one is don't burn bridges, because you never know when you're going to have to cross them again, or you never know when you're going to have to use those bridges again, because it's not like you're using people, but it's just best to always leave things on a positive. And one of the most crucial things I think you guys can take from this is find time to relax, because I feel like a lot of people are always about the always grinding, grind every day type thing, but really find time to relax, please. It's really important, just for your mental health, for your body's health, everything. And go ahead and make some time for loved ones as well, because having those loved ones in your life can really help you detach from football and just relax, like I just said. So yeah, make some time for those loved ones in your life. I think that was about 30, but let's go ahead and throw in a couple extra. I'm gonna stop the clock wherever it is. Look, I got 2 easy ones for you right here. This is coming directly from my video about how to prevent injuries, but I want you to drink water and I want you to get your sleep, because with both of those, you'll immediately make it so you're bound to get hurt a lot less than you would otherwise, because there's no getting highlights, there's no getting touchdowns, there's no getting sacks if you don't get on the field. If you're on the sideline and you're hurt because you didn't do your rehab and you're not healed yet, then that's your fault, honestly. And the last tip I got for you guys today is don't be afraid to ask for help, especially me. Go ahead and ask me anything that you guys want to know. If you guys want to know anything, please ask me down in the comments down below. Ask your loved ones, ask your coach, ask anybody that you think might want to help you. Don't be too big to ask for help just because you think that you don't want to bother them. A lot of people are willing to help other people, but you'll never know if you don't ask. I don't know if I hit the 10-minute mark or if I went over. It kind of feels like I went a little bit over, but go ahead and let me know how I did in the comments down below as well. If you guys liked the video, go ahead and hit like. It really helped me. And if you guys want to see more from me, hit that subscribe button and hit that noti bell if you guys want to see more from me and see when I upload or see when I go live on YouTube and Twitch at the same time. Because if you don't have the notification bell marked, you won't get a notification for when I go live or exactly when I post a video. So go ahead and be part of the Noti Squad, and I really appreciate it. Anyways, this has been fun. I hope these tips helped you guys. My name is Javis, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Y'all just want to play the game. Come on. Hey! All you gotta do is try forward.